What a big day of news. First, this shock announcement by Victorian Premier Dan Andrews that Victoria is dumping the Commonwealth Games. How will this affect Australia's reputation internationally, particularly when it comes to holding events? It's an extraordinary and unprecedented decision, at least in Australian terms. Here was the Victorian Premier announcing it.
$6 to $7 billion is well and truly too much for a 12-day sporting event. I will not take money out of hospitals and schools in order to fund an event that is 3 times the cost as estimated and budgeted for last year. In terms of where we go to from here, the Games will not proceed.
The Victorian Premier did tip off the PM in advance, but the PM did not look too comfortable and kind of ducked the question this morning.
Look, that's a decision made by the Victorian government. I'll leave the Victorian government to go through those details, but I'm certainly focused on a sporting event that will happen in 2 days' time with the Matildas.
Treasurer Jim Chalmers, who we've spoken to from India, says it's disappointing.
Oh, I think it's disappointing, Andrew. That's the truth of it. It's disappointing for Victorian sports fans in particular, but we do understand that when you sign up for big events like this, it does have to be a good investment. You have to get value for money. So disappointing, but the Victorians have come to this conclusion. No doubt there'll be a conversation now about what happens next.
Also calling it disappointing is the Commonwealth Games Association, which said in a statement, quote, "The numbers quoted to us today of $6 billion are 50% more than those advised to the organising committee board at its meeting in June."
The announcement made by the Victorian government today is beyond disappointing for us. It is a comprehensive letdown for the athletes, the excited host communities, First Nations Australian who are going to be at the heart of the Games, and the millions of fans that would have embraced the 6th home Games here in Australia.
Curious indeed. Well, most state premiers, when asked, have balked today at the prospect of taking on Victoria's problem just 3 years before a scheduled Games, including New South Wales Premier Chris Minns and WA Premier Roger Cook and Queensland's Anastasia Palaszczuk.
The Games will not proceed in Victoria in 2026.
So we can't bid for the Commonwealth Games. We're not in a position to take them on.
We cannot afford to spend more money on another Games.
We won't be making a bid for the Commonwealth Games.
There you have it. The New South Wales Opposition leader Mark Speakman, who the government has pointed out was part of a government which decided not to bid in 2021, has had this to say, however. He says, with Victorian Labor cancelling Melbourne's 2026 Commonwealth Games, the New South Wales government should urgently consider bidding for Sydney to host them. We have our 2000 Olympics infrastructure, plus world-class sports infrastructure built since the New South Wales Liberals Nationals were in government. We'll cross to Victorian Opposition leader John Pesutto on this shortly.